Hey, welcome back to Hillbilly Hippie Honeybees, West Virginia's premium honey. Hey, I'm Clint Baker, and y'all been here before. We thank you for coming back and tuning in. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, July is coming up on us quickly, and you need a July to-do list. So we're going to go over 10, 12 things that you need to be on top of into July. You should have already been doing some of these things, so some of it's just a reminder, but some of these things are pretty critical this time of the year. So let's get going here. Let's talk about what we're going to be doing in July. All right, number one, you want to do your Varroa mite checks. You want to make sure that your counts are under 3%. That's 9 mites, roughly, and 300 bees. You also want to make sure that you don't wait until it shows signs of decline in your colony, okay? Then things are starting to go sideways then and a little bit south, but you want to do this right now. So get out there, get your alcohol washes out, or however you choose to check your mite counts. Do it the way you do it. That's the way we do it with the alcohol washes. But get out there and get those checks, see if they're under 3%. If they're not, go ahead and start treating for Varroa mite. This time of the year we use oxalic acid. There's many ways that you can use oxalic acid, but you choose what you want to do. There are other treatments you can use. We just find this time of the year in most areas it's very hot, and of course we don't want to hurt the colonies or dry, anything of that. Some of those are heat sensitive, and we'll talk more about that as we get into the fall. We'll do a whole video on just Varroa mite treatments towards the end of this bee season running into fall. All right, but get out there and get the Varroa mites checked. And I've got a cardinal right up there behind me. I don't know if y'all can see it up here in the corner, but he's been out here chirping at me all day long. So anyway, that's number one, Varroa mite treatment. Number two, you want to look for another pest, and that's the hive beetle. Make sure that you don't have a ton of hive beetles. Get your hive beetle traps in, or whatever you use for hive beetle treatment. You do not want your honey to get slime, that's for sure. And look for the larvae inside the comb and all that. So strong colonies, though, normally you don't have a lot of issue with the hive beetle if you've got a really strong, healthy colony. But you still want to look for that this time of the year because things can happen, right? So look for that pest too. Pests are really bad this time of the year, so be checking for that. Now we've personally found, and tell me if you guys have seen this as well, that if you have your colonies setting in pretty good sun, that we don't have as many of the hive beetles. But maybe it's just us, maybe it's just in our area. But I know down south they have usually a lot of issues with that. But check on those hive beetles. That's number two. So number three, we've talked about pests, we've talked about Varroa mite. So you want to start planning your Varroa mite treatments, right? And so we already talked about oxalic acid, but we do have other products out there, formic acid, and other treatments like that. But you want to start planning now. As we're going from July into the fall, you want to get your plans together on how you're going to treat, if you treat. I know there's some people out there that don't treat. That's okay. You do you, and the rest of us will do us. We're not 100% treaters. We don't treat everything. Like we've said in the past, we only treat the things that we feel needs treated, anything that's above 3%. But there are people out there that treat everything, and that's all right too. We've always said, and you'll hear this from other beekeepers, you ask 12 beekeepers one question, you'll get 15 different answers. So however you choose to do it, just get a plan together and follow through. And don't just get the plan together in your brain. Get the plan together on paper and track everything. Track your mite counts per colony, per bee yard. Make sure that you're getting everything down on paper so that next year you'll know a little bit easier on what you need to be doing and where you need to be doing it at, if that makes sense. All right, dearth is probably one of the best times to start those treatments because the production of the colonies slow down a little bit, and so you don't have as much brood in there, and it's easier to treat during those times. So again, number three is to get a plan together for the Varroa mite. Number 4, this is a good time to remove your excess honey supers. All right, get them all off there. Pull anything that is already capped honey. We're actually going to start, we're pulling a little late this year. Normally we pull right about now. It's towards the end of June, but we're actually going to pull the week after 4th of July this year. It just happens to be the only time we can get together and get this thing done, right? So that is how we're pulling our honey this year. Make sure that you're storing your supers good, especially if they have any brood, had any brood in them, because why? Another bad pest that screws your wax up is what? That's right, it is the wax moth. So you want to store them properly. Sometimes we throw some of ours right back on so they can clean them up and get ready for the after that's dearth we go through in the summertime. Evaluate each yard. You know, what's the honey yield? What's the honey sources around there? Don't get caught like David and I did last year, and we lost a whole yard because we didn't know the yard before we put them out there. We thought we did, but we didn't know it well enough. All right, and so check the colony's performance. Check the queen's performance. Is she doing well? Is she a queen that's laying a lot? Is she a spotty queen? Is it a spicy colony? If it is, maybe you want to pinch her off and requeen. This is a good time of the year to requeen because they'll get into the colony, they will start boosting things up, and then they'll start getting ready for fall and then into the winter, and then that's going to be a really strong colony come spring. Think about swarm history. Was that colony a big swarmer this year? If it was, we don't like that, so we usually pinch her off and then we don't deal with her anymore. All right, and we just requeen with that. Also, when you're doing all removing the honey supers, you want to be able, this is a good time to manage your comb and the equipment. What do I mean by that? This is a good time to repair your equipment, maybe sort the drawn comb from the non, freeze any comb that may have had brood in it, so that it'll help deter the wax moths. You can also go back and look at our video. We put a video out last year about this same time, and it was how we treat our comb, our pulled comb for wax moths. We won't go into that right now. We'll maybe do that again this fall. We'll see about that. And then organize everything. Get everything together. It's a good time to make sure the frames aren't falling apart. Maybe you need to restaple and glue some. But this is a good time while you're pulling that excess honey off of there and those excess supers off of there. This is a good time to do that. Number 5, watch for your summer dearth. West Virginia, especially in our area, during late July into August, we get a dearth going on. And so what is a dearth? That means you have reduced nectar coming in. So what you're looking for is you're looking for that. There's less bees going in and out, field bees going in and out, forager bees going in and out. You're going to look for robbing going on because you may have to do some management for that. There's also going to be a lot of bees hanging around the outside of the hive, maybe a lot more bearding going on. Sometimes that's just because of heat, but a lot of times that's because there's a dearth going on and there's not a lot of work for them to do. So instead of all being packed up inside the colony, guess what they do? They hang out outside. You'll see a lot of cool stuff like washboarding going on and things like that. But you know, if you do feed during this time, would highly recommend, you know, feeders that are either deep inside of the hive, or if you're going to do community feeders, make sure you put them far away from your hive so that doesn't cause or introduce more robbing than what you want around your bee yards. You're going to see less white wax being built right now during that time. So these are just signs that you go look for to make sure that if you're going into that dearth, you're going to be looking around your area and seeing what's blooming and what's not. And it's okay to go and look up, hey, do honeybees like this particular tree or this shrub or what have you? Do they get nectar off of it? And then make notes. Again, make notes on what's blooming right now so that you will know next year, hey, during this time. Now this year has been very odd for us here in West Virginia. And so our notes from last year, we pretty much had to throw away when it come to the bloom. Tell us about in your area, if you're in West Virginia or the Appalachian Mountains areas, if you're in the same boat. But again, many parts of of our area right here, we're getting ready to start into that dearth, and we're starting to prepare for that now. So prepare for that. That's number 5. Watch for the summer dearth conditions. All right, number 6, combine those what we call hopeless colonies. All right, maybe they're a weak colony, maybe it's a queenless colony, maybe it's a laying worker, very low populations. Consider combining rather than trying to nurse them through to get them to the winter. Okay, sometimes right now, if they are a very weak colony or a queenless colony or what have you, go ahead and just combine them and get them ready. Or maybe you can rob some brood from another colony that's really heavy, and maybe you nurse them a little bit that way. But a lot of times right now is just a good time to combine them and get through the dearth, and then that way you've got strong colonies going into the fall flow, which for us right here, it's normally, I gotta stop for a minute. We've got a bird here that's chasing our dogs around the backyard. So, and they're having a good time with it. But this is a good time for that, right? So that you can get that taken care of. So again, go ahead and start looking at your weak colonies and your queenless colonies and your laying worker colonies, and see if you have to do some management there as well. So that's number 6. Number 7, it's going to get hot and humid. All right, so you want to right now start improving your ventilation to the hives. Now, some people will say remove all your front entrances all the way. That's a twofold double-edged sword right there. Why? Because this is a time when robbing could be happening, so you don't want a big entrance for them to have to defend. So you want to consider that. All right. There are different ways you can create more ventilation. We use a lot of popsicle sticks. We'll put popsicle sticks up in the top, and that just gives enough area or enough gap for the air to flow through. We do that. The old timers used to use pennies, but guess what? They don't make pennies anymore, so you can't use that. So popsicle sticks, little twigs, little rocks, whatever. Just put it. We usually put it on the back end, and then that way the air will flow through from the front all the way up through that direction. So tell us how you do it. Maybe you got a cool way of doing it. So improve that. How can you tell if it's hot inside the colony? Well, 1, if you're hot, they're probably hot, right? 2, if there's a lot of bearding outside, that's probably a good indication that it is very hot inside the hive as well. But again, if you're hot, they're probably hot, so just go ahead and give them a little bit more ventilation. If there's any way that you can think beforehand and set your bee yards up to where they get evening shade, that's a great plus too. But sometimes we don't have that luxury, right? So we've got a couple bee yards that have that luxury, but we've got a couple that don't have that luxury. So you got to just think about that as well when you're setting up your bee yards. So that is what you need to look at when it comes to improving ventilation. Number 7, water sources. They're going to need a lot of moisture, a lot of water during this time. So make sure they've got a lot of water laying, out, whether you put water sources out for them. My wife, she puts rocks in the bird baths out here, and she keeps them full of water. We've got fountains all over the place in our yard. Our other bee yards, there's ponds around, so they're pretty well taken care of. Mainly still water's the best. Moving water, they'll get into it some up next to the bank, but mainly still water's the best. So if you've got ponds around, swamps around, things like that, they should be good, but you need to pay close attention. Monitor that, so if there is a drought going on and that all dries up, you're going to need to try to get something out there to them. We'll a lot of times put containers out in those areas. We'll throw a big wad of straw down in there, or leaves or pine needles or something, and fill that up with water, and there you go. They've got something to float on. They got water to drink from. So make sure that you are maintaining water sources in those areas. All right, number 9, evaluate the food sources that they have around them and evaluate the food that they have inside. Go around and check. You all know who I'm talking about. There's one of the ones that we all love to listen to down south. Bob Benning says if they feel like a box of rocks, they're good. If they're lighter than that, you may want to feed them. All right. So check the lighter colonies. Monitor newly made splits or anything that you've done like that. Maybe you've done a few splits. You've had the luxury of doing that, but you want to monitor them close during this time. And watch if you have any nukes out there. Watch them carefully. Around our area, I would not, this is, in my opinion, and my brother's opinion, it is probably too late to be trying to rear a lot of queens. So if you want to, try, but you're starting to get into a lot of difficulty, and your percentages are going to drop down. But again, strong colonies, they'll handle those long dearths, but you may have to do a little extra feeding during this time as well. Not just the water, but you may have to do a little bit of 1-to-1 sugar water during this time as well. And again, if you're going to do it like we talked in the beginning of the video, you either want to do internal feeders or you want to do community feeders that's really far away from them, like 100 yards or better away from them, so that it doesn't induce some robbing frenzies and things of that nature. So that would be number 9. All right, so number 10, you want to start preparing for your fall. What are you going to be doing in the fall? Start, like we talked earlier, get a plan together for mite treatments. What are you going to be? How are you going to be feeding in the fall? 2-to-1 sugar water, fondant patties, candy boards. How are you going to start getting ready for the winter? All right. Mouse guards, getting your mouse guards ready so that they don't go in and spend the winter with them and cause havoc inside your hives. We talked about this one earlier too, replacing any queens that may need to be requeened. So colonies at that time, fall is going to be, now into the fall is going to be good times to requeen colonies that are failing, or queens that are failing. So those are some things that you're going to start preparing for the fall. And here's the bonus one that I like to start doing. So start preparing for your winter, for your education. Start looking and seeing what kind of books you want to get a hold of to read. What kind of seminars do you want to go to? Do you want to go to NABI? What do you want to do to continue your education in beekeeping? Workshops in your local area, your associations, your mentor. What do you want to do to educate yourself? So you need to start thinking about this stuff as well. I know you should be doing this already, but look, we need to, I've always said beekeeping is like reading the Bible. It seems like the more I read the Bible, the more I realize I don't know, right? Beekeeping is a lot the same way. It seems like the more, we're 4th generation, and it seems like the more that we learn and the more that we do it, the more we realize we really don't know. And so that's just part of beekeeping. So how are you going to educate yourself and keep your education up to where you can be a better steward to those bees and you can be a better beekeeper? Because at the end of the day, you are their keeper, all right? And so a lot of times it just is what it is when it comes to beekeeping, right? And so, but you need to educate yourself. So what are you going to do to keep yourself educated? All right, so real quick overview. So we want to check your mite levels. We want to treat if necessary, pull any or extra honey right now. Watch for the dearth conditions. You want to watch for robbing and help prevent robbing. You want to check the queen's quality, her viability. Make sure you don't need to requeen her. You also need to monitor for small hive beetles. If you need to treat for those or put in beetle traps, whatever you need to do there. You want to keep assessing the food, their sources around them and inside the box themselves, the colony themselves. You want to organize your equipment. Start making a plan. Again, going into the winter months, you're going to start planning, okay, What do I need to fix? What do I need to buy? What do I need to do to get ready for the upcoming season? See, you're always trying to plan ahead as a beekeeper. And if you're not, you're going to get caught with your pants down, and that's not fun, trust me. Again, and you're going to start planning for that fall management. What are you doing to get ready? And then again, what are you doing to get ready to educate yourself? So Varroa mite treatment is very important. Managing the summer dearth is very important. Evaluating your queen is very important. Quality and strength of the colony is very important during this time. And so these are tasks that you need to be doing right now and into July and August to make sure that you are ready for the upcoming winter months. All right. So anyway, I hope this helps you. Down below, if you've got other things that you do during this time, especially if you're in our West Virginia area, please comment down below and let us know. Maybe I probably missed something. That just happens from time to time. So let us know down below. And if you've got any tricks of the trade that you do, let us know down below as well. So, but again, I hope this little list helps you get ready for July and into August. This will help you into August as well. But and I hope that you are having a wonderful, successful honey harvest. And I hope that you're having fun with this. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, is a lot of good fun. So, all right, well, God bless y'all, and thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you next time. And we've got some good ones coming up. We've actually got one coming up. It's a good DIY for those of you who have problems with crystallized honey. So stick around and watch for an upcoming video on that. So, all right, well, again, God bless y'all, and we'll talk to you on the next time. Bye-bye.